Assalamu alaikum. Very good afternoon, Prof. I hope you're doing well in Japan right now. Hope the weather is nice. So, for this session of case study discussion, we are again from Group 6 of Class BC6013. We'll be discussing on change leadership in Feed First, and I am Dr. Amir Ghadaffi bin Patawari, and followed by my colleague Marcetha Manuel and Razalie. We've come up with this presentation of this particular case study, which what we're looking at is actually a Liangzi. I think that's how we pronounce it, how it's supposed to be pronounced, Liangzi. It's a growing brand in China in which it focuses on massage therapy, and it is one of the fastest growing brands in China. Started off in 1997 actually by Zhu Guofan. So he worked he worked in a small business selling kebab and kebabs then and other jobs later, moved into garment and then followed by restaurants, in which after that he had a radical idea of setting up a massage parlor after going for a massage at a barbershop after long days at work. So this innovation that he came up with was to combine both foot massage as well as food and drinks. So from the year 1997 to 2004, his business grew from a single shop up to 1,000 parlor franchise network, in which he managed to expand this business of his. However, this expansion comes with a negative, in which he faced image and reputational crises due to the proliferation of counterfeit or fake Liangzi massage parlors, and that ultimately damaged his brand in a way. So what he did was quite revolutionary, in which he sold off all his franchises and just kept a few and set up a new business. So this was done when he had this reflection walk. He had a reflective walk, which is quite a distance between Shanghai to Beijing, which is about 1,000 kilometers. So we're looking at this reframe of his branding and how he changed his business multiple times over. So we're looking at to analyze his leadership and decision making, as well as strategy and rebuilding his brands. Again, from this case study, it looks as if he's done it multiple times. So question number one. So we're looking at change drivers and strategic decisions that came up towards the decision of Mr. Shuo to developing and changing his businesses. So the change was due to several factors, such as internal issues, brand integrity concerns, as well as failure of certain operations and financial losses. So Liangzi lost their touch and quality through the business expansion. So as we can see in most businesses, once a business expands and having multiple franchises, the issue would be quality control, and I think this is what has happened to Mr. Cho's franchise, in which he cannot control the quality of the product that's been given to customers, and hence there was a reduction of in terms of the product and the service offered. So what we see is service differentiation is necessary for the business to gain market advantages, in which what we're looking at what gives the upper hand of a business so that it is, what we can say is better than the other. Next is brand integrity concerns, in which we're looking at the proliferations caused a lot of concerns with regards to a reduction in quality, as well as accusations of illicit business practices, such as prostitutions, in which a lot of massage parlors has been associated with. So this led to a reputation damage, and corporate image is the main contributor to customer loyalty. So if it fails to address these issues, they will lose shares, market shares, and long-term financial losses can be seen. And actually, coming to mind, an example would be Air Asia, I think. Just as an aside, in which we can see Tony Fernandez managed to flip a company from DRB Highcom to his, and Datuk Kamarudin Maranun's company they bought it for just 2 ringgit and managed to flip into a multi-billion business based on changes that they made from a supposedly premium service airline, in which Air Asia initially started off within DRB, and they transformed it into a no-frills, low-cost airline. So they managed to cut down the internal issues, as well as to restructure back brand integrity to get customer loyalty and customer confidence back. So next would be failure of the Shanghai operations for Mr. Chuo, in which his Shanghai branch failed and resulted in the millions of losses. So by addressing that issue, both internally and externally, his next steps to decide the cost and benefits of continuing the business, in which we've seen from the previous slide that he had a very long walk between Shanghai and Beijing to come up with a new idea. So looking at costs, we're looking at Mr. Chuo needs to make up for the losses from Shanghai through other franchises, and sustaining the businesses was doubtful with stiff competition amongst rival companies, because once people have caught on into a profiting business, a lot of people would want to ride the train going through with it. So it causes constant mental distress, which is quite a cost actually as well. It's a health cost for Mr. Chuo, and probably some of his employees who are affected by it. So benefits would be a new business concept was born. So it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. So the focus is more on the middle working class, and that in itself, because of that, the concerns of fake Liangzi parlors is no longer a concern due to a distinct service that it brings to their customers right now. So market confidence and rebuilding the brand's name to Liangzi Fitness Center, and alleviating its mental distress, and taking time out actually to worry less about his business helps in a way, benefits the business, in which there is rejuvenation of both mind and confidence of both Mr. Chuo, his employees, as well as his customers. So he gained control of his company with over 53% of the shareholder. So Mr. Chuo made a strategic decision to let go of his franchises. He let go a lot of his businesses, of his franchises, and just kept in a few, which is and with it he kept the core values of the business, And with the new business concept, he is able to gain respected name in the Chinese foot massage business. So for the second question, what we're looking at is how Mr. Chuo can better control the pace of change in his new look company. So we're looking at a structural control mechanism in which there is improved decision-making speed, then there's strengthening of the brand, as well as enhanced control to operation, as well as a higher implementation cost. So a centralized control structure this allows the company planning, implementation, and decision making to be much faster, as the power is vested in the top management. So this allows the company to respond and adapt to the changing market dynamics. So for the second point, we're looking at centralizing business ownership. It helps with the service and the quality of the brand, ensuring consistency across all locations and creating a uniform brand experience. So what we can see is an example for AirAsia. We have AirAsia Thailand, AirAsia Indonesia. So centralizing that business ownership helps with that. There's consistency across the brand, across the locations of each airline that we're looking at. So the third one is a centralized structure will enable companies to effectively manage their resources and minimize operational risk and improve productivity. And the transition from decentralization to centralization may result in a significant upfront cost to set up the centralized system. So there could also be resistance among employees that need to be handled delicately. So all these actually we can see from the business of Mr. Chuo setting up his new business, and we can also see a story of AirAsia in which it being centralized with the company office here in KL. So it minimizes the operational risk and improves the productivity of the airline across all airline companies, sister companies, as well as there could be resistance among employees. That resistance we can probably see during in initial takeovers of the airlines, probably from DRB to AirAsia, and probably all these other airlines from Thai AirAsia as well as Indonesia AirAsia. So as a continuation of that, we're looking at the implementations of the change, in which we're looking at Mr. Chuo's approach to the change was quite abrupt. He just suddenly let go of his franchises, but it was strategically planned. And once he decided to let go of the franchises, he immediately focused on rebranding his business concept by paying more attention to massage techniques with the right blend of herbs and oils. So his equipment changes. He upgrades his equipment. He upgrades his employees' techniques and skills. So with this, he increases public trust with his brand, bringing more quality into it. So Mr. Chuo also focuses more on service value than profit. So this holistic approach considers long-term benefits for the company rather than seeking short-term financial gains, and this also increases customer trust for his brand. Last but not least, he focuses on his staff's well-being and believes that well-compensated staffs will work harder for the company and will stay loyal to the company. So his masseuse, their wages were much better as compared to the competition across the board, and that gathered a sense of loyalty for his masseuse to his company and not seeking employment elsewhere. So last but not least, we're looking at the leadership effectiveness and adaptability of Mr. Chuo's leadership on his company. So we're looking at his leadership style, in which there is both a transformational leadership as well as transactional leadership, in which his vision in the transformational role was to restore his brand to a more prestigious brand in China's foot massage market. So his strategic initiatives includes reverting to the core values, as well as rebranding the transformation and looking at the employee-centric policies, as well as having a long-term focus as compared to a short-term win for the company. As well as for his transactional leadership, we're looking at an abrupt rebranding. This shows that he is willing to impose changes without any negotiation, making him actually a bold leader. And his demand for uniformity emphasizes the same techniques and the specific herbs and spices, herbs and oils, and strict compliance for his brand. That allows for uniformity and familiarity to his brand amongst customers. So there's also zero tolerance to proliferation, and he discontinues his products, like his franchises, whenever he sees that there are counterfeits going around the market, and he's not scared to do that. So for him, his adaptability and resilience shows in his crisis management and his employee relations. So he identified internal and external issues affecting his business before proceeding with new strategies. He took time. He had his walk from Shanghai to Beijing to reassess his plans for any significant change that had to be made. And so this giving the business away enabled him to develop a unique business idea with a competitive advantage. So more like a phoenix rising from the ashes. It's a way for him to start new, but still retaining that brand and that culture of work, but with a tweak in between. So his training and development of his staff looks at a long-term growth of an employee, as well as compensation which is fair, and salary that is adequate for an individual employee to sustain the family. It actually fosters loyalty between employees and the company. And we're looking at his moral responsibility and the ethical considerations, in which he is willing to give away his franchise without any financial compensation. This shows a strategic focus on preserving his brand reputation and integrity rather than letting it dilute. So it considers a long-term benefits for the company rather than seeking short-term financial gains. And it reflects his willingness to safeguard his brand at a significant cost for a long-term financial gain. So we're looking at as well, actually AirAsia, this, if we're looking at change, I think AirAsia is a brilliant product to see change, because Tony also has transformational leadership skills as well as transactional leadership skills, in which he and Dr. Kamaruddin Marano has managed to transform a bleeding company into a multi-billion dollar company, in which it's also been awarded very good marks on it being a low-cost service carrier. So the way both of them manage crises, in which they lost an airplane of theirs in Indonesia, and probably a crisis when they first started out this airline, as well as the folding of certain AirAsia India in Japan, shows that there is the solid crisis management of the team. All right. As well as the employee relations that we're looking at, there's a solid loyalty to AirAsia within the ranks and file. And last but not least, we're looking at ethical considerations for AirAsia. So, AirAsia actually, they're quite ethical in terms of how they do their business, and in terms of sustainability, using very fuel efficient seats, fuel efficient planes. So that in itself is a moral responsibility for a company. So that's about it for our group. It's a bit 5 minutes off
mark from the 15-minute. So I hope you could. We apologize for that. All right. Thank you very much, Prof.